Flipkart.com Technology and Leadership Forum. I'm Anisha Nayar-Thavan. Today we are picking the brains of technology leaders to find out from them how AI and specifically generative AI is going to impact lives, lifestyles and businesses. I have with me Mr. Jeyandran Venugopal, Chief Product and Technology Officer, Flipkart, joining me now. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Could you tell us what you are doing at Flipkart with respect to generative AI and its applications?
Sure. So generative AI is such a powerful and transformative technology tool that we have right now, a technology platform, a paradigm shifting one. We are applying it across several different use cases. So we have several constituents who are part of the ecosystem of Flipkart, right? So if you look at the buying consumers, they're at the center of a marketplace platform like ours. So I'll start there and talk about how we are leveraging Gen AI to enhance their experience on the platform. One of the things that we have released recently is something called Flippy, which is a conversational commerce assistant. It's a bot. So on the homepage of Flipkart, you can go and do a left swipe and you will land on Flippy. Already about 10% of our users are regularly using it. And what we see is great engagement. The bot actually helps the user discover products in a more intuitive, natural way, where they don't need to figure out how to craft the right search queries and the right keywords to fire at the catalog to retrieve the products they want. It will be as if they are talking to a personalized sales assistant who knows them as a customer as well as knows our catalog in its entirety and helps do the matchmaking in a seamless and natural way.
How do they know the customer, sorry?
So the bot has access to the list of all the previous history of purchases from the customer. So it can highly personalize its responses to the customer. So we already have insights about the customer in the term of their brand preferences, price point preferences and other things, right? Of course, we know their PIN code, so we can match it to the availability of products in that geolocation and all of that stuff, right? So that is the element of personalization that we are bringing to the bot. Plus, it helps you discover the products in a more natural, seamless way. For example, let's assume that you were trying to buy a phone for, let's say, your grandmother, right? So if you go today and search on the catalog using traditional search interfaces and say, phone for my grandmother, what do you think you'll get? So you have a vision in mind of a phone that has, for example, slightly bigger buttons, maybe a more easy to and intuitive to understand interfaces and so on, right? So there are in fact phones that are being created for senior citizens and so on and so forth, right? But for the job is then on you to translate what it means semantically when you say phone for my grandmother, or let's say we can talk about lots of different types of these kind of queries, right? Which are complex semantic queries, and translating it into what does it mean in terms of actual product specifications. You can say a phone for gaming. What does it mean? It means maybe something about a battery life, it means something about the refresh rate on the screen, about the processor that is there.
I need to know all these details to find the phone I want.
But when you talk to the conversational assistance bot, it has a world knowledge built into the bot.
So I just have to tell the bot, what's the best phone for my grandma?
Yeah.
And they'll help.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to know big buttons, big screen, text.
Yeah. So it will be able to figure out the fact that a phone for the elderly means that these particular attributes have more importance or weightage than something else, right?
Okay.
And it uses its world knowledge engine to be able to do that sort of a translation and be able to retrieve the right set of products to surface to the user. So it's a more natural conversational way of discovering products. If you think about how you go to a fashion store and buy things, right? You give a general description of what you're looking for. Maybe you say, oh, I'm looking for a black cocktail dress, right? So then the salesperson may show you a few options. And then you say, okay, I like this, but maybe a slightly different shade of black, or maybe like a more grayish tone of the color, or maybe more lace on the cuffs or something, right? So then the query becomes anchored on some pattern that you like, and then some modification on that. Today, can you do that easily in any sort of e-commerce platform using just search? You cannot, right? You have to keep figuring out keywords to hit at the catalog. But for example, we released a product called Immerse. So on the search browse listing page, there is a small icon that you will see on the left bottom of the listing, If you click on it, it opens a completely new discovery interface for the customer, which we call as StyleMate. Internally, the product is called Immerse. So the StyleMate experience allows you to actually anchor on something that you see on the page and say what kind of modification you want on it. So you use a combination of a product image and something else on top of it to search the catalog again, right? So those kind of experiences being powered today by underpinning of the GenAI technology. A lot of the building blocks of GenAI are being used for some of these experiences, and directly vision models are being used for improving catalog, enrichment of the catalog, and all of these things as well.
That's great. So why only 10% are using Flippy?
No, we have done it in a calibrated fashion. Very soon you will see that we are actually going to increase exposure for the users. We can of course increase exposure for the users simply by just replacing our homepage and just putting Flippy on that, right? Then 100% of the users will use it. So the reason we are doing it in a calibrated fashion, we have been slowly increasing exposure level so far, is because we also use any AI product. When you expose it to customers, you get lots and lots of interaction data from the customers, which is used to label it and retrain the models and the prompts to make the system itself better. So there is a feedback loop that the process that the product is now going through, and when we believe that it is now ready for more and more exposure, it is covering more and more verticals in a way that customers give us a lot of thumbs up on, then we will keep on increasing the exposure level of the bot.
All right.
So it's a very conscious decision
do it in a calibrated fashion.
Yeah.
Right. So, customers on online marketplaces are also using AR, VR to help them with their purchase decisions. Like you can try on a lipstick on your face using a photograph or live. So, is generative AI getting integrated into this also? Will it make the experience even better?
Yeah. So, if you look at alternative models of commerce or alternative models of discovery, right? There are several of them. Like for example, video commerce, specifically influencer commerce, social commerce. There are several terms used for it, right? So these are ways to discover products that you can buy using some content which drives inspiration for you, which serves as an inspiration top of the funnel for the platform, right? So there are several ways in which we can integrate AI technology and make that entire flow better. For example, to be able to match products that are available in a influencer video and be able to show that these products are very close matches of them are available in an e-commerce catalog itself requires fairly advanced vision models which are able to process images, video frames, etc., to be able to do the right level of catalog matchmaking, right? So that is an area where we will of course use AI and vision models. And in terms of AR, VR, one of the use cases we have recently rolled out on our platform is something called a skin analyzer. So we are able to actually not only let you take a selfie and then apply all kinds of like multi-layered makeup on yourself to see how you look. That's a use case a lot of people have deployed. Now we are also able to analyze using vision models their skin tone and give lots of inputs and suggestions on what kind of products will suit them. Is your skin looking like a dry skin? Do you need some treatment for your pores? Is there some sort of sagginess in some specific places where we recommend certain products based on matching it to what we have in the catalog? So those kind of value-added use cases where it's not only about look and feel but also about, in some sense,
cross-selling.
Yeah, cross-selling and consulting the user on what is the right product that will suit them best. Like if you go, for example, and talk to exactly, right? If you go to let's say a high-end beauty and personal care store on a high street, right? The salespeople there are highly knowledgeable about the products and also about what will suit you better. That is the experience people go to these stores for, right? So they may not know anything about even their skin type, whether they need to use this sort of moisturizer or that sort of moisturizer or not even need a moisturizer, whatever it is, right? So the person analyzes their skin tone and applies certain products on them and then tries to consult with them while actually also placing a set of products that they think will suit the customer, right? That is a much more informed and helpful buying experience. And those kind of experiences are very much now possible by blending these other discovery models with AI as an enabler tool that can improve the experience even further.
So I'm sure the customer is very happy because not only is he getting things at home at a good time, but he's also getting these personalized services, and he's not going to have to go to a physical store to do the same. Now, this is the side of the customers. What about the sellers? Are you using any generative AI for the processes that you have for sellers? Does it make their life any easier?
Absolutely. I think, in fact, sellers probably would be the ones that will see the benefits even quicker, in my opinion. A lot of our sellers actually are coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities. They don't have a very large scaled digital setup with an army of employees who can do very high quality cataloging of products, right? Very articulate product descriptions, etc. Right? So then they do lose out in terms of the quality of their catalog, which then gets ranked differently
in discovery,
right? In discovery by and eventually by users also. When they see the product detail page, it sometimes doesn't stand out enough for them to make the buying decision. Right? So that particular gap is now being bridged. What really matters is, at the end of the day, the quality of your product, the value you are giving the customers. Right? So now, even with the tabletop image, you may not have a digital studio where you can actually do high quality model shoots, where you can, for example, if not a model shoot, even a mannequin shoot, right? You may only be able to do, let's say, catalog imagery by uploading a tabletop image of a dress, right? Will that compete on equal footing now with somebody who's able to do this sort of high quality model imagery, etc.? So far, that has been a challenge. But now with GenAI technology, we are able to generate GenAI avatars on which you can drape products. You can use, for example, tabletop images and then recreate 3D rendering of the product, as long as we have enough views of the product, the front, backs, sides, etc., etc. Right? Depending on the complexity of the product and the patterns in it, we may need multiple images, but it is now possible to do a high quality 3D rendering of the product draped on a virtual human that is generated. And that's something that really bridges the gap between, let's say, a small medium seller who may not have the means with a very large organized operation that is cataloging on the platform. And even more than that, even as a consumer, let's say I usually am seeing only a set of already pre-shot model images, right? Even in a country like India, there is a huge diversity. The ethnicity of people, skin tones of people, etc., are very different from the south to the north to the east, and so on and so forth, right? But all of us used to the exact same imagery, right? So now we are able to, in fact, personalize even catalog imagery.
According to region?
According to region, right? It's not yet fully scaled up. This is something that is slowly being built and scaled up. And not only that, it's not only about generating multiple draped versions of the product on virtual avatars which represent different ethnicities, skin tones, body types, and all of that. That, in fact, is table stakes. Now we are able to even place the products in real world settings. Like if you now have to, let's say you have a sneaker that you're launching, right? You can have the model wear the sneaker and do a photo shot. But imagine that you are able to show that somebody wearing it, or let's say it placed in a very artistic way against a background, etc., right? It enhances the value of discovery for the user, right? So they're able to see contrast in the product with, let's say, a green background imagery, let's say somebody wearing it on a track versus, let's say, in a party setting, and so on and so forth, right? So we're able to do all these various settings that we are able to use then. Let's say let's go back to the same black cocktail dress example, right? So maybe you're trying to buy the dress for attending an office party, or let's say some marriage reception or something, right? If you get a sense of what is the occasion for which you're trying to buy the product, now we can show the product in context. We can overlay the imagery that we generate on top of, let's say, a party-like background. So it is much more relatable to you for your current need state, and it will enhance your buying decision, right? So those kind of things were never possible in the past. And now it is all possible by the magic of what GenAI brings to the table.
That's amazing, and a lot is already underway at Flipkart. But 2024 and beyond, what more can we see at Flipkart using AI?
Yeah, I think if you look at the trajectory of GenAI and where it is going, models are getting better every day. They are integrating real-time information about the world into it. And there is a lot of effort underway in India as well to infuse Indian cultural nuances, understanding of language, understanding of our festivals and other things like that into these models in a more native way, right? Aside from also voice, vernacular, and other multimodal ways of interacting with the model. So over time, we believe that these multimodal models that have the capability to seamlessly blend voice, any sort of real world imagery the customer wants to use to be able to search for products, ask questions, and all of that will drive a lot of new type of use cases that were never before possible. So we want to be at the cutting edge of it. We are building our own custom LLM models as well, fine-tuned models on top of open source, and we are creating what is called as a mixture of experts kind of an architecture where we are using really powerful large commercial models for certain things. We are using homegrown models for certain things and trying to manage the right mix of cost, performance and latency to the user and make the business use case work. At the end of the day, business ROI matters, right? And this technology at its current stage of evolution does need this sort of deep engineering and investment to make the technology work at scale for our users, and you will see a lot of these kind of new innovations rolling out in the year to come and beyond.
Thank you so much, Jay, for speaking with us. It sounds very exciting, at least where the shopping experience is concerned. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.